welcome to another brand new episode of Dingers and Stingers, the podcast that isn't talking about that. So go somewhere else. The draft is coming up and we have enough to talk about. On today's episode, we are going to talk about the draft. It's coming up very fast on us here. We have a mock draft for you, and we're going to discuss some of those picks that we have on that mock draft. We are also going to have the fellas play a little bit of a game that I have designed for us. So that's going to be fun. We're going to play a little guessing game there, compete a little. And we'll also have dingers and stingers at the end, as we always do. But first, we're going to start with a couple of headlines, things that are making headlines in the NFL this week. Or just generally recently. It's the slow time for NFL. The couple weeks before the draft are usually like everyone's just waiting for the draft to happen to start talking again. But there's a couple things that have made their way over to big news here. So first is Travis Hunter. So earlier this week, reports are out that the Jaguars are planning to transition him to cornerback only, or cornerback primarily, perhaps is the better term for what will happen this season. But the idea, assuming being that he'll be a cornerback for most of the rest of his time with the Jaguars. So Travis Hunter has disputed this in his way, kind of just throwing out a cheeky tweet. What are you talking about? Where'd you hear this from? Not really ever saying it's not true, but, maybe voicing that, nothing's set in stone yet. But, it was a two-way experiment. Does it make sense if it is going to happen that they transition him to cornerback? Does it make sense to just focus on one over trying to do both?
I think when you think like long-term development for a player, yeah, right? Like a guy can come in and be a supreme athlete and be able to play both ways like he does. But we saw last year he wasn't able to stay fully healthy for a season, and that impacted the Jaguars' ability to finish their season well. And so I think there is this idea that if they can just get him to focus on a single position, I think the Jaguars believe he can be elite at that position. And when you look at what the Jaguars need and what the team needs, their need is at DB more than it is at receiver at this point. And so for them, I think what I saw was that they mentioned they were planning to, like you said, primarily use him at corner, but there would still be packages and plays that they would bring him in for on offense. And I think that's the correct move for him, honestly. Like let him be a kick returner and kind of a gadget player, but have him focus on one thing because it was weird when they would try and put like snap count limits on him to protect him. But then it's like, okay, during like crucial moments when he needs to be out there locking someone up, he was on the sideline. And then he would be in on like first down run plays, not doing anything. And there's just this weird usage balance that they didn't seem to figure out. So I ultimately, if we're talking longevity, I think this is the right move for him. It sucks a little because we really did think this might be the first guy in a long time to pull this off. But unfortunately, his body just wasn't built for that type of snap count at the pro level. I mean, really no one's is, but in specific, he doesn't have a big frame. So he wasn't able to kind of take the beating necessary to play the way he needed to.
Yeah, I think it makes sense, especially in a sport that like injuries are just oh so common, regardless of what position you play. Like, take away the fact that it's hard to do two different things on a football field. Like, those two things are like one of them is always on the field, essentially. So like that is just that's gonna gas a player. I mean, like it's like almost like not rare, but like it's becoming less common even in like high school sports for that to be
Mm-hmm.
a thing. So um, in that sense, it makes sense. The one thing I get a little bit hung up on is like the Jaguars a year ago traded up to pick him number 2 overall, and if your plan was to give it 1 year, and a year where, like, take Travis Hunter out of the equation, a very successful year for the Jaguars. They looked like a team that was, ready to become one of the strongest teams in the AFC. I don't really see why you would want to commit to this so soon. Like, I would at least, like, try it out in training camp, like with him doing both, and kind of see what happens from there. Because I think it does take away from some of his value when you're taking away half of what he does. So if he's a true lockdown corner, then yeah, he's worth the number 2 pick maybe. But if he's, fine at the cornerback position, then I think it was an overpay to trade up to get him.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that was always the risk inherently, right? Was you were betting on something that was rare and special and unlikely. Like the Travis Hunter pick was so controversial because of that. And everyone was debating, was he could have gone anywhere from pick number 1 all the way to pick like 8. Like people were so unsure of where to take him because every team had different ideas of, was he a two-way player? Was he just a one-way player? Was he a receiver? Was he a corner? What's the positional value here? All these different things. And so I think for the Jaguars, they took a risk. It didn't work out exactly as they wanted. And at the end of the day, they're still doing, I think, the maybe not what's best, but the safest decision they could make, which is keep a really good player as healthy as possible. And it's like you're saying, if he becomes a lockdown corner, great. But if not, he becomes a decent corner who's aggressive and a ball hawk and a playmaker. He's still able to play on some of those gadget plays on offense. He can still return kicks. He can still do other things. Um, he's just not going to be that traditional wide receiver and a traditional corner at the same time. But I think the real travesty here is all the people who drafted him in dynasty football last year. What did they do? He was a top 2, top 3 pick. These people are out a first round pick and some pretty high buy-in leagues.
Yeah, that's
He
what
ain't, he
happens
ain't
when you're
got trade
trying
value
to.
anymore.
Yeah, that's what happens when you're trying to break ground, right? Like sometimes you do, and sometimes you kind of just don't. And so that's kind of what happens here, I think, is we tried to break some ground in the NFL, make something happen, and not quite this mix can work, I don't think. All right, so moving on from that to, we've had some drama with a superstar, in New York. So the Giants are currently dealing with Dexter Lawrence fallout here. He's requested a trade from the team. They resumed contract talks after that, but now they have reportedly reached an impasse. They're not really getting on the same page with where he wants to be. So, is this guy going to end up getting traded? I mean, I didn't really see that coming. And why bail on the Giants now if you're Dexter Lawrence?
Yeah, I don't think he's going to end up being traded. I think right now he might be in this position where, I mean, this is his 4th or 5th coach in his career to this point, and it's one of those, like, you want to know that you're getting in to something stable. You want to know that they have a vision for the future and also a vision that includes you, right? If you're a star player, you kind of want that knowledge of, like, hey, this team is ready to commit to you and build around you. We just saw the Giants 2 seasons ago now. I forget if it was 2 seasons or last season, but they traded Brian Burns away, and they traded a really, really, really good edge rusher. And right in exactly when he was kind of in the stage that Dexter Lawrence is in. And so I think it begs this question. I think he just wants to know where he's going to be. And when a team is playing hardball and they're not really giving much ground in contract talks, you're at this point, you're on a new team with a new rebuild essentially. It's new coach and everything, Harbaugh. I don't know that he's going to be traded ultimately, but I can see him wanting to kind of push the line a little bit to see, like, are they going to commit to me or not? Because if they don't have long-term plans for him, why waste a season on a team that still, I would think, would self scout themselves and say are a year to 2 away. Um the shelf life of an NFL player is not long, and he has a chance to be a real difference maker on a team that might actually be good or win some games. And so if they're not willing to commit to him long term, they're not willing to give him the guarantees. I think that's kind of just a leverage play more than anything.
And I think in the NFL where careers are short and there is a pretty tragic history of like what football can do to a person. Um, Obviously that's not a guarantee, but like it's the risk that NFL players run by playing every year. Um, I have no problem with a player trying to get every last dollar that he can get because that's the reward for all this. Like, yeah, you want to win, you want to be part of a good team, but you also are like you're really risking your life like in a way. And so I'm never gonna fault a guy for wanting to get the most money they can get. Whether it's the Giants or someone else, I hope he gets it. It is. I think it's like it, like team wise, it's the time when the Giants look to be kind of in an optimistic zone. They had a few young guys that they liked last year. They got a new coach who has a history of success. But yeah, in general, like I'm gonna be pro player every day of the week.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see if this strategy either pays off and he stays with New York or pays in a different way where, a contender snags a guy who can really help them get over the line. And so, yeah, we'll keep our eye on the Dexter Lawrence situation as the offseason goes on. But moving on to our feature for today, which is our quarterback guessing game. All right, so here's how it's going to work. It is going to be Drew versus Matt. I have put the game together, so I know the answers, so I can't play. But Drew versus Matt here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the top 3 wide receivers by touchdown passes caught, and you will guess the quarterback who threw them those touchdown passes. Okay. So I'll give them to you in reverse order. So third
Can you
most, second most, first most.
can you give us an example, one that's not in the game, or do you not have an example prepared? Because I'm curious what you mean by that. Like, are we talking like, oh, Julius Thomas is number 3 for Peyton Manning, something like that?
Yes, that is the idea.
Great.
Yes. Yeah, so that's the idea. And so I'll be giving you the receivers in reverse order. So third most, second most, then first most, and you get more points the earlier you guess. Okay.
And
So
it's
the
it's
earlier,
is it the actual top 3 or is it just in order of?
it is the actual top 3.
Okay,
Yes,
all right.
I kept it to actual top 3 for this one because it's frankly hard enough if it's the actual top 3. I found out. So yeah, question. Is that a question?
What
Yeah.
are we putting like a parameter on the years?
Like on like how long ago the quarterback played?
Like how long the quarterback played, or like if it's someone who's like kind of dipped into our generation, but also his leading receiver was from like 1982.
Oh, yeah, that's not a thing. No. None of our quarterbacks played started their career before the like mid 90s. There's only one that started
Okay.
his career back then. So everyone is people you know.
Okay.
And people, yeah, these are quarterbacks you have watched play for the most part for the majority of their career. You have watched them yourself play. So yeah, I didn't do any old guys. No, no old guys here. And so obviously more points the earlier you guess. If you guess within 1 wide receiver, you get 6 points. If you guess within 2, you get 4. And if you guess within 3, you get 2. And also, I've thrown in 1 bonus point if you can guess which receivers remain after you already guess. So
Mhm.
if you guess on the second wide receiver, but you know who the first one might be, go ahead and throw a guess out there for a bonus point. All right, so we can really rack them up here if you know your people. All right, so we do have them organized by easy, medium, and hard. Okay, so an easy round, you guys will both get one quarterback each. Medium round, one quarterback each. Hard round, one quarterback each. The difficulty was kind of based around um, not necessarily whether or not you will know the quarterback's name, because you will, but around like, did he play for a lot of different teams? Did he play? Was his peak not very long? You know, kind of a thing. Was how the difficulty went into play here. So, but these are names that you'll know, and like I said, all of these guys you have watched play at least the majority of their career with your own eyes. So it'll be good. All right. Any last questions before we begin? All right.
Ready.
So I made this 2 weeks ago, and I think I remember that I put the players in a weird order. Um, I think I wrote the receivers down in the order I want to tell them to you, not in the order that they are in the list. I think that's right. And looking at the list, I think that's right. So I'm going to go and give them to you in that order.
Okay.
All right. So let's start with round one. Okay. So this is the easy round. All right. And I'll keep track of the scores as well, in case one of you guys loses track or whatever. You don't have to keep track. I'll keep track. Okay.
Thanks, boss.
So let's begin, and let's begin with Matt. Okay, so which one of these am I going to give you here? Okay, I'll give you this one. Okay, so the first wide receiver, so the third most touchdown catches from this quarterback. This quarterback threw the third most of his touchdown passes were to this receiver. Okay, so that receiver's name is Donald Driver. Okay, so a name you know.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just guess Brett Favre.
You're going to guess correctly. It is Brett Favre. Okay, so there's an opportunity for bonus points here. Okay, so 2 bonus points on the line if you can get these next two receivers. They're his second most and his first most. I'll give you one for anyone that you get. So you can get one, you can get two.
All right, I'll take 2 swings in the dark here. I was not the biggest Favre fan. I was also quite young, but I guess he also played until I was quite old. I'm gonna go out on a whim and say this feels wrong, but maybe it was right. I could be misremembering this guy. Is one of them Sidney Rice?
One of them is not Sidney Rice.
That was just that one Vikings year, right?
The Vikings year. The Vikings year.
But
Yes.
hey, dude, you never know. He could have done like a solid like 15 that year. Sidney Rice was
Right.
massive.
Right.
Can I ask how many Donald Driver had? Or do you not have that written down?
I didn't write it down.
Well,
I think I know number one. I don't get bonus points for your guy though, right?
I'm gonna guess.
Well,
I don't.
why don't we make it interesting and say maybe you can?
If I don't get this, Drew, you can steal. I'm gonna say Greg Jennings.
Yeah. That is not correct either. Okay,
Great.
Not on the list of top two anyway. Of top two. So yes, let's make it interesting. Actually, that's a good rule. So if your opponent can guess your players, they can get points off that. So you can steal some points here.
Okay, I don't think I have 2 names for you, but I would guess that number 1 is Antonio Freeman.
Yes, number 1 is Antonio Freeman. Yes,
okay,
that is correct.
And then I'll throw out Shannon's brother Sterling Sharp as number 2.
Oh, dude.
You'll get another point there. Yes, Sterling Sharp is number 2.
I totally forgot about Sterling
Sharp. That is correct. Yes. So top 3 in order from third to first is Donald Driver, Sterling Sharp, and then the most is Antonio Freeman. Yes, he got the most touchdowns from Brett Favre.
I watched the 1997-1998 Broncos Super Bowl video a lot of times, and they played the Packers that year. So
there you go.
That's a little cheat for me.
There you go. All right.
Banana kind of game.
Yeah, there we go. Now we have a funky way to get points. I like this. Yeah. So here we go. All right, Drew, you're up. All right. So for this quarterback, number 3 on the touchdown receptions list is Heath Miller. Heath Miller,
number 3.
Yes.
I'm gonna say this is Big Ben Roethlisberger.
This is correct. Ben Roethlisberger. Well done. So we'll add 6 points to your total there. And then you got 2 bonus points to get here, and Matt will have a shot if you miss any of them.
Okay. I think I'm gonna go with my 2 names. I'm gonna go 2 totally different eras because Big Ben played for quite a while.
Okay.
I think Antonio Brown is probably one of the names,
That is one of them, yes.
and I'll go with Hines Ward.
Yeah.
And that is the other. Yes. So
Yeah.
correct. 2 different eras, but yeah, his number one target at 2 different times of his career for sure. And that is the order. That's not the order. Antonio Brown's number 1. Hines Ward is number 2. And then Heath Miller was that third one. All right. So there you go. That's the easy round. All right. And you both came
Built
away
for
with points
easy.
there. Yes, you both came away with points there. So that's great. Okay.
6 to 8.
The medium one. Okay, here we go. It's interesting because the medium one could seem easy to me, but I know the answers. So that's part of why I'm having trouble deciding who to give who here. Okay, so we'll do this. Matt, your quarterback. You'll guess now for this guy. So I think the first player for both of these is pretty good. So let's go ahead and give you this one. The player that caught the third most touchdown passes from this quarterback is Eric Decker. Eric Decker.
Okay, I mean,
We remember him, right?
yeah,
Course,
I gotta guess Peyton Manning.
Incorrect. Not Peyton Manning. Not Peyton Manning. So once you guess, we will move you on to the next receiver to keep it fair. So, all right. Your second receiver, the second most touchdown passes from this quarterback, Brandon Marshall. Brandon Marshall. So Brandon Marshall, number 2, Eric Decker, number 3.
Dude, I hate it because I know Drew is like the ultimate sports trivia guy, and I'm getting nervous. I'm
Well,
trying to think about the teams they played on here, and I'm gonna think out loud, even if it helps Drew in the long run. Eric
I don't
Decker.
have this one. To be fair, like just so you know, I have who I would guess, but I'm not confident in this one.
Okay, because Eric Decker played for the Broncos, obviously. He played for the
Obviously,
Jets.
he did.
I believe he played for the Dolphins at one
Maybe.
point.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I could be wrong on that. I know Brandon Marshall played for a lot of teams, but he played for the Bears. He played for the Jets. And I'm wondering if it's a Jets quarterback, but then God forbid I have to guess a Jets quarterback. Uh shit. Okay, I don't even know if this is the right era, but I'm gonna take a swing and most likely a big miss here. I'm gonna go with Mark Sanchez.
This is not Mark Sanchez. Okay, not Mark Sanchez. Okay, so moving you on to the player who caught the most touchdowns from this quarterback. I
Nice.
don't know if this is going to help you, to be honest. But it is Stevie Johnson. Stevie Johnson is number 1 for this quarterback.
Stevie Johnson.
So
Stevie Johnson. He went to USC. Fuck. Stevie Johnson went to USC. I remember him because his name was Steve Johnson.
yeah,
Shit. He God, he played for a number of teams. He played for the Bills. He played for the Eagles. Who the hell overlaps with all these guys? Shit, dude.
I think the first 2 will help you the most by knowing what teams they both played for. Because Stevie Johnson, I don't know, like I didn't really know that guy by name too much, but the first 2 would help you the most if you continue to think along the lines of who played with both of those guys.
Yeah,
Just
what's
playing along
crazy?
in my head, I thought, okay, as soon as he says the number 1 name, I'll know for sure. But it
Yeah,
made it so much more tricky in my head. Like I
Yes,
was
yeah.
like,
because
okay, wait,
I
what?
even I even know who Stevie Johnson is, and in my head canon, I'm like, he wasn't good. I don't remember him being like
I remember him
some.
So
famously like dropping a lot of passes.
He
so
wouldn't
so
be like a career leader.
I can tell you this as well. So the medium mode round, these are a couple guys who played for a lot of teams. Okay, so they had
I
long
have two guesses.
careers, but they played for a lot of teams.
I have two guesses. It's one guy that I want it to be, and one guy who I think it is.
What you get one official guess.
I know.
Yeah, one guess for real.
I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna feel so dumb if it's who I think it is, but I'm gonna go with who I want it to be. Is it Fitzpatrick? Is it Ryan Fitzpatrick?
It is Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Ah,
Yes, from
Eric
on the
Decker's
Hail
his
Mary.
third most. I
On the
can't
Hail
believe that.
Mary. I think maybe is there some Dolphins touchdowns in there, maybe as well as some Jets touchdowns.
I
there
I
guess,
don't
yeah, there
there
know.
must be.
certainly is because he played for all the teams I've listed so far. My only other guess was I was like, was there some secret Jay Cutler years that Stevie Johnson played with him?
Oh yeah.
I
No,
thought
yeah,
I thought
yeah.
Broncos. I was thinking Jay Cutler. I was thinking Kyle Orton, but I was like, well, he didn't overlap with Brandon Marshall. Um, but the yeah, Stevie Johnson really threw me for a loop.
Stevie Johnson is the perfect leader for Ryan Fitzpatrick. It's a what the fuck
Yeah.
for who?
The
Yeah.
perfect leader. Yes, absolutely. All right, so good on you there. So we'll make sure to tally up the scores going into our last round, but we'll go with Drew's quarterback now for the medium mode round here. All right, so player number one that you will get for medium mode round for this quarterback. It's actually two players, so there's a tie here for third most. One of them is Steve Smith. The other is Anquan Bolden. Okay, so that's the third most for this quarterback, and it is a tie between Steve Smith and Anquan Bolden.
Okay. Um, can I get confirmation on which Steve Smith we're talking about? I'm assuming
Stevie
Uh,
Smith.
it's
yeah,
it's uh it's
let
the
me
more
research.
prominent one who was on the Panthers and the Ravens, which would make sense with Anquan Bolden also having Ravens ears.
Let me just double check that for you so I can confirm that I think I'm right, but I just want to double check and make sure.
Oh my god,
Yes,
we
it
just
is. It
swept
is
Mary.
the prominent Steve Smith, the famous Steve
Okay.
Smith.
Okay. Well then, this might feel a little too easy to be medium, but I'll throw it out there. Joe Flacco.
You know what? It is Joe Flacco, and
All
that
right.
is a little easy. Anquan Bolden is the easy part of that. That's why I was saying some of these might feel easy to me, but maybe it was just because I knew the answer. I thought Anquan Bolden made that pretty easy, but don't worry, Matt. There's a chance for you to steal some points here if we can't get the other two, because there are some bonus points on the line here. So let's see
Yeah.
if you know the top two, or either one of the top two, really.
Well, those two would have been early guesses for me. Like if you just asked me who caught the most
Yeah,
touchdown passes from Joe
yeah.
Flacco, those two would have come to mind.
I checked multiple
Um,
places to make sure that wasn't what I was seeing. Is like that I'm making sure they're the third, but they
yeah.
were. They were.
So it's got to be someone from the Ravens. He's never played anywhere else long enough to, I don't think, surpass those two guys. Um,
Could be the Browns, dude. He was slanging.
so
Clanging and banging.
there's a couple guys who played there for a while who you didn't necessarily think of as getting a ton of touchdowns, but um, maybe just by pure longevity. I'll throw, but which one do I throw out first? I feel like there's no way they're one and two. I'm trying to think, is there a tight end that played with him a lot? Could be a running back sneaky, but I think I'm
Dude,
gonna
you
go with
talk
a wide
about Ray
receiver.
Rice.
I think I'm gonna go with wide receiver, and I'm gonna go with who do I think had more touchdowns? I'll go with Jacoby Jones.
Kobe Jones not on the list. Not on the
Ah,
list here. At least
just the
not in
one
the
that
top
broke
three.
my heart in
Yeah.
2013 playoffs.
Yes. Big catch. A big touchdown catch, but not the second or first most touchdown
All right,
catches.
so Matt can steal it now, right?
Yep. You got 2 points on the line here. If you can think of two names here, I'll give you one if you get one, of course.
I mean the so I was also thinking about Jacoby Jones. Just because I was thinking, well, sometimes those deep threat guys will get a sneaky couple seasons in. There's another guy who you probably are forgetting who is also just kind of a deep threat who played there forever. I have to imagine this guy's up there. Uh, Torrey Smith.
That was my other name I had.
Torrey Smith is number one. Number
Ah,
one.
couldn't remember
Torrey
which
Smith.
one was more of a
Yes.
touchdown guy, but yeah,
I don't remember them being that different, if I'm being honest. But my thought
Yeah.
was that's the other guy I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You did say tight end, and now I'm curious because I'm thinking like that feels like a very Ravens position. I'm like, I don't think Joe Flacco overlapped too much with Mark Andrews, if at all. I'm gonna pull a name out of my ES here. I don't know if he's up there, but I remember this guy being a playoff demon. Todd Heap.
Not Todd Heap. Yeah, Todd Heap not number 2 on this
He's a
list
little
here.
earlier than Flacco, I think.
I just remember just the playoff god.
Yeah. The player that is number 2 on the list is Derek Mason. Derek Mason. I didn't really know too much
Sure.
I
about
wasn't gonna
that,
get
but
that.
he is number 2. Yeah, there you go. So there's medium round. So the medium difficulty round is complete. I am not going to say the scores. We'll say the final score at the end. We'll keep some suspense here for those not keeping track at home.
Well, it's not close.
But there is opportunity here, ample opportunity, because this is the hard round. So there could be one of you two, who just goes blanco here and doesn't get anything. Because you got no bonus points if it takes you all 3 receivers to get it or not get it, right? So there's an opportunity here. Okay, so hard mode. Here we go. And I'll go ahead and give the blanket statement here that I gave for medium mode. Hard mode. The reason these guys might be the most difficult is because their peak was not very long. Okay, these quarterbacks, their peak was not very long. So keep that in mind as well. Okay, so we're going to start with we just did Matt, right? I'm not tripping. Did we?
You just did me.
Oh, we just did you. Gosh,
But
see,
Matt stole some points at the end.
Yes, that's right. Okay, so Matt, we're going to go back to you and give you a quarterback to guess here. Okay.
All right.
So your hard mode quarterback, the player that caught the third most touchdowns from this person is Earl Bennett. Earl Bennett.
Can you use that in a sentence?
Yeah. Earl Bennett caught the third most touchdowns from this quarterback who I can't name for you. When he played for the team that I can't tell you what it is.
Just real quick, just give me his teams and what years he played and who was his quarterback.
Yeah. The team that he played for alongside this man who I can't tell you what team it is.
Okay, Earl
Yes.
Bennett.
Yeah.
This is insane because I genuinely am like, I'm only 20% sure I even know who this is.
Right.
Not 0.
Hard round. Hard mode.
All right, I got my goat. Jeff Garcia.
It's not Jeff Garcia.
Imagine.
Not Jeff Garcia. That shot going in. Oh man, I wanted it to be Jeff Garcia for you so bad, but it's not.
I heard short peak, older guy.
Yeah, short peak. Yeah, keep thinking about short peak. And we have a returning player to the list here. Someone we've mentioned before.
It's going to be Antonio Brown.
The second most touchdowns from this quarterback, Brandon Marshall. Brandon Marshall. Okay. So a repeat player here appears on 2 guys' lists in the top 3.
Is it okay? Fuck, what's his last name? His first name is Rex. Is it the Bears quarterback, Rex, whatever? Rex Grossman.
Rex Grossman. It is not Rex Grossman. Okay, not Rex Grossman.
He had a short peak, guys. He had a short
peak. He did have a short peak. Okay, so here you go. The player who's got the most touchdowns from this quarterback is Alshon Jeffrey. We're remembering some guys. Alshon Jeffrey, we're remembering. Alshon Jeffrey, Brandon Marshall, and Earl Bennett.
It's got to be a Bear then, right?
It's got to be, but
no comment.
Rex Grossman made the most sense as a short peak. I'm wondering, was Cutler even there long enough to make a dent? And also, who the fuck is Earl Bennett?
Short peak, keep it relative, relative to some of the guys we've talked about already, you know.
I feel like Jay Cutler's like the glaring, flashing, obvious choice, but I can't imagine that it's Jay Cutler for some reason.
Well, not that I want to help you out. I would be like, I'm with you in the thought process that it probably should be Jay Cutler, but I'm shocked that Brandon Marshall wouldn't be higher than Alshon Jeffrey if that's the case.
Sure,
But
yeah. I just because Alshon Jeffrey was not that good anywhere else. He had a couple. Oh fuck, where was he good before the Bears though? He was good
I
somewhere.
wouldn't be able to tell you.
He was
he was
good
good after on
somewhere.
the Eagles, right?
Or
But that
was
was
it the
after.
Eagles? Was the Eagles before?
After.
Because there was a team that he was good for, and then ended up on the Bears. I thought.
Sounds familiar, actually.
Because then I thought that he had like a big career dip and then a small late resurgence. But I I'm thrown off. It can't be Jay Cutler. That can't be the last guy I get. I like Jay Cutler can't. It just can't. It can't be. I can't guess Jay Cutler. Um 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 I think I have to guess Jay Cutler. I got nothing else.
Jay Cutler, final answer?
Unfortunately so, yeah.
Fortunately, you are correct.
God.
It's
All
like, who
right,
else could it
so
be?
Jay
All right.
Cutler, yeah. So some
All
Bears
right.
in there, let's give you those requisite points here. All right. Okay, so here we
Earl
go.
Bennett had 12 career touchdowns.
Yes,
He did not
yes.
spread the love, Jay Cutler.
Jay Cutler, not known for spreading the love around the Bears family. Uh, I guess.
12
Um,
career.
Yeah, man. When I saw the number, I remember being shocked by the number that's third most. I'll tell you that. I remember being shocked by the number that's third. There was a big difference between third most and second most on this for this quarterback for Jay Cutler.
Oh, I think I'm cooked. I think that's
Big
it.
difference. Well, let's see. Okay, so Drew's quarterback, the third most touchdown catches for a receiver from this quarterback. How about Todd Pinkston? We familiar? We know?
Todd
We
Pinkston.
remember?
Okay, Todd Pinkston is not.
This is the hard round.
He's not ringing any immediate bells for me. So any guess here? I think I'll give it a few more seconds of trying to picture Pinkston on the back of a jersey, but
Yeah.
this could just be a total shot in the dark. So let's just think about what I do know, which is Dallas said it was a short peak for
Yep.
these guys. That's why they're hard. I'm trying to think of guys who peaked but didn't have longevity. I'm going to throw a total blind dart here and say Matt Schaub.
Not Matt Schaub for this answer. Not Matt Schaub.
Hell yeah, though,
But
dude. Hell yeah, though.
a good pull. A good pull. This is what I want. I want to give you that hint for the hard mode so we get some good guys in here. We want to get some names in here. Rex Grossman we got guessed. Matt Schaub we got guessed
Jeff
here. This is what I
Garcia,
like.
yeah.
Jeff Garcia we got in here. Okay, so player number 2. I don't know if this is going to help you much. Second most touchdowns from this quarterback, James Thrash. James Thrash. I swear to God, the third player on this list you will know. I swear to God.
Okay, James Thrash. Okay, I will be honest. Somewhere in my brain, this sounds a little bit more familiar than Todd Pinkston. However, I'm still not placing a uniform, which that's kind of the whole game here. Okay. So again, I'm just going back to the well of short peaks, and let's think about this for a second.
Low-key have a guess on this one.
That's great that it's my turn then. Okay. It's Trash. Let's. I feel like if it's already hard and it's already short peak, I'm gonna take the guess that it's not gonna be like an older guy like from when we were really little. That could be wrong. That's just where my brain's gonna go. So I'm trying to guess like 2010s short peak. Uh, how about a 1 year peak? Let's go with Brian Hoyer.
Brian Hoyer. An interesting guess, but not quite correct
Yeah.
for this guy. Okay. Okay, so I told you that third player on the list you know, which is the guy
Hmm.
who's caught the most touchdowns from this quarterback.
Okay.
T.O. himself, Terrell Owens.
Okay. So it is. I had bad logic there. Okay. Terrell Owens bounced around. He
True.
was on the Niners. He was on the Eagles. He was on the Cowboys. And then he bounced around a little bit more after that. But I think it's got to be one of those teams. I think it's probably not Eagles because I think that was only a couple years, and that was Donovan McNabb for the most part. Um, unless the answer is Donovan McNabb, but I thought he had a longer peak in general. Um, so Cowboys. It's definitely not Tony Romo because he would have had Des Bryant on there. He would have had Jason Witten. Okay, so
Once again, not to help you out either, because I've kind of now retracted my guess in my own head. Dallas did say one of these guys started their career in the 90s.
yeah, which Brett Favre was one of the answers, so I kind of.
I already forgot about Brett Favre.
That
Okay,
was
so
way back at the beginning, yeah.
this is great because if it is 49ers, then I think the answer is Jeff Garcia, which is very funny that that was your dart in round one. And so just because I would hate to be wrong on a name that was already guessed, and I'm Pinkston and Thrash are not ringing any bells for these other teams here, I'm gonna throw Jeff Garcia out there. Is it Jeff Garcia?
Okay, that would be awesome if it was Jeff Garcia, but
Okay,
it
so
isn't, unfortunately.
this is a game.
Um,
This is a real
Not Jeff
game.
Garcia, unfortunately. Uh, you know what? As amazing as it is that Terrell Owens only played one season with his quarterback, he is the most touchdown receptions from Donovan McNabb. He
No
only played
way.
one season with him, or one
That
season and some change, but he has
that's
the
crazy.
most total touchdown catches from Donovan McNabb in his career. So it is
My
Donovan McNabb.
Eagles timeline is off then because I was like, well, if it's McNabb, it'll be like Jeremy Maclin will be on that list.
Mm,
Brian Westbrook, I would have actually guessed could have been on that list, but all right.
My Madden 2002 knowledge, being my first Madden game, was really kicking in there. I knew all three of those names, and I couldn't put them on a team yet.
yeah, like on the same team as each other. Like which common team do they share? Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, look, a good game show host would have given Matt a chance to steal that one there and maybe make this a little closer and give an opportunity. But I forgot to do that. So no big deal. It wouldn't have made a difference though, because the scores going into the final round there were it was 8-16 in favor of Drew. So Matt clawed back some points there.
Whoa.
Final score of wait, no, it was 11-16 going into that round. So Matt brought it in within three. So 13 I have for Matt's score, 16 for Drew's score. So there you go. That is our quarterback guessing game for today. That was fun. And we got to name some guys, which is cool. We love to name some guys.
My favorite thing to do.
Yep. And so yeah, Donovan McNabb is the guy that like every football fan has that guy that they just can't ever stop thinking about. That's
Was it
that's that's
was it
him for
Matt
me.
Berkeley?
Yeah, that's him. That's who that is for me. Like I always think about Donovan McNabb. I'm always thinking about him all the time. Okay, so look, did that take longer than I thought it would? Yeah, it did. But we still have some draft topics to discuss. Okay, so let's get into it here because the draft is coming up. I believe it's next week, right? Am I wrong on that?
Ooh, should be.
Okay. So yeah, next Thursday I think is the first day of the draft. So we need to make sure we get our takes out there on how this thing might go. So what I want to do is we have the graphic for the mock draft that Matt so kindly put together on behalf of the pod. So we will display that graphic over the course of at some point over the course of the rest of the episode. We'll display that graphic so you can take a look at it, see the whole thing top to bottom, see who has your team picking. But what I want to do with our time remaining here before we get to dingers and stingers, I want to talk about maybe the 3 to 5 most interesting picks that you have here, Matt. What picks did you maybe agonize over the most? Which picks do you think are the boldest? Things like that from your list that we have either already shown or will be showing the people here. So let's take about 3 to 5 picks and let's talk about those.
Yeah. So I mean, looking through this, I'll preface, you guys will see the graphic on the screen, but I did not do any trades. I think that trying to predict exact trades is crazy. I think obviously trades will happen, but I don't believe that there is a way for me to accurately predict that. That's not what I'm going off of. So this is me keeping everyone in place and just saying who's available. What am I kind of hearing? What's the rumor mill? What are we going off of? I think the first big, not like controversial, but like the big name that I want to talk about that was a tough one for me was at pick 5 with Caleb Downs. There's a lot of players on this list who I think have gotten more pre-draft hype and who people may say are bigger needs, and you really don't draft safeties in the top 5. But someone who I respect greatly in this industry is Peter Schrager. And I think that he's very tapped in. I think that he's very respected. Shout out the Shregs. And I saw a video of him, or like a tweet or something, where he was talking about the fact that he was like, I think this is a year where a lot of NFL GMs are kind of just throwing out positional value because of how top heavy this draft is. You kind of just want to go after best players available, not necessarily best position and best player available. And so I was looking at Caleb Downs and I was thinking about John Harbaugh and I was like, what does this dude always have? A star safety. Like he's always had a star safety, whether that was back in the day with Eric Weddle. I think he had even a little overlap with Ed Reed. Obviously he brought in Kyle Hamilton. But now with the Giants, he'd go out and get his guy, Caleb Downs. I think that this is higher than a lot of people are comfortable sticking a safety. And at the same time, I don't know that there's necessarily 5 better players than Caleb Downs in this draft. So I ended up going with him there. I think it's a great pick. This would scream John Harbaugh to me. And I do think that he's going to have quite a big say in the way that they draft and kind of go about their personnel moving forward. Um, Another one that I thought was really interesting when I was going through this is the Chiefs. I had a really hard time picking the Chiefs at 9, mainly because their roster, this is going to be shocking, I think, for some people to hear. They have a really bad roster. The Chiefs do not have a lot of talent on their team. They have a Patrick Mahomes, and they've had a lot of creativity and a lot of individual stardom that has led them to these miraculous wins. Chris Jones is still kind of, at least in the league right now, one of the best defensive tackles. They had Patrick Mahomes for a while. Obviously, they had Kelsey and stuff. But if you look at this team right now, there's not, you can go almost anywhere. But the direction I ended up going, as you guys can see, I went with a corner. I went with my top corner in the draft, Mansour Delane out of LSU. I think he's the best, just man on man, sticky, kind of just coverage corner. Um, because I think that unfortunately, and maybe fortunately, the Chiefs have 2 first round picks, but they also have to kind of immediately address some of their needs. They can't really just pick best player available. because they have let so many pieces of their roster kind of fall apart. And case in point, they let their starting two corners walk, well, one trade and then one walk, both to the Rams. And so now all of a sudden you're looking at this defensive back room for the Chiefs. They don't have anybody. Like there's just not a lot of people there. And so that one was really tough for me because I think that he is great and I think he is worth a top pick, but there's quite a number of players that directly follow him that I think I would take above him. Um, but then again, they're addressing a need with a high-end player. As far as other places here, I think some interesting ones. I don't necessarily have to go as in depth as some of these, but I think Monroe Freeling to the Ravens makes too much sense. Been the left tackle for Georgia for the last few years. Played a season at right tackle. The Ravens did not look like their normal selves when it comes to the run game and just their offensive line being these maulers. Monroe Freeling had one of the most exciting and explosive combine showings for any offensive tackle we've ever seen. I think he scored like a 9.98 on the RAS scale, which is like the athleticism scale on a scale of 1 to 10. 10 being you're the best prospect athletically at your position ever. He scored like a 9.98. I mean, the dude is an absolute freak. Moving down this list, Makai Lemon slipped a lot further than I thought he would. I'm a huge Makai Lemon fan, and I would have expected him to be going in like the 10 to 15 range, and he fell all the way to 19 to the Panthers, who I do think can and would use another receiver um, to help out, Bryce Young. I think Caden Proctor is an interesting one because a lot of people say he's not worth a first round pick at tackle, but I don't think he's going to play tackle. I think he is the next Mekhi Becton. I think he's going to go to the Chargers and transition to guard, where he is going to be just one of the most physically dominant guards, pretty much right off the bat. I mean, the dude is a mammoth, and for a tackle is already quite athletic. And then you put him at guard, he's going to outclass the athletes on the interior almost every play. Um, really love that pick. And then going down here, I like the Peter Woods pick to the Chiefs. I think that he is more talented than 29th, but just with how this all kind of played out, he would be one of my favorite defensive linemen, and he gets to fall all the way down here to pair with Chris Jones, who is not getting any younger. I think he's 33 now, which in NFL terms means he's like an old uncle. Um, and lastly, I think my favorite pick, and I seem to find myself mocking the same position groups to this team every year, is the Seahawks taking a guard, Emmanuel Pregnon. Because I watched enough of Anthony Bradford last year to understand it doesn't matter who's on the board. Take a guard.
Yeah, yeah, that one I can chime in on. I'm ready to move on from Anthony Bradford era, Anthony Bradford times. So yes, I also want the Seahawks to take a guard in the draft as well. I would love to see that happen. And John Schneider's been pretty good drafting offensive linemen as of recently. So I'd say let's see if he can stay on that heater and keep cooking, and just take another offensive lineman in the first round to see if he can hit again. And so why not give it a shot? And so, yes, I think so too. Yeah,
Yeah.
good pick there. Right on. Great. So, this mock draft is here. We will check in on it after the draft is over just to see what of any of these, especially the ones in the later round, the top picks are, usually easier to tell. But we'll see how we did. So, taking a look at the rest of this here, it's definitely all good stuff. So, draft talk is good talk. And we can't wait to see who will be joining our favorite teams, and also everyone else's favorite teams as well. The draft is awesome, even though the number one pick or the guy who's supposed to go number one and expected to go number one won't be there. We talked about that a little bit last week. That'll be interesting to see how that kind of plays out, how they do that. But it'll be cool nonetheless. All right. So let's end our show this week by going over our dingers and stingers. So if you are unfamiliar, this is the segment where we give you one good thing, a dinger, and one bad thing, a stinger, from the world of sports for the week. So we will start with Drew, and let's start with stingers and end with the good here. So let's start with stingers, and Drew, give us yours.
Yeah, my stinger is really no surprise to anyone who watched our baseball episode from this week, but it's got to be Garrett Crochet having the absolute worst start I've like ever seen with my own two eyes. And
Man,
it's like a guy that, you come into the year with Cy Young hopes, and he was so good for us last year. And obviously, I'm not out on him being good for us this year. But yeah, it was kind of shocking and not something you want to see. And the velocity was down, all that stuff. So I'm hopeful we can turn it around, but in general, the start to the season for the Red Sox starting pitching has been disappointing to say the least, and that is a major part of it is Garrett Crochet going in and just totally shitting the bed. So um, definitely we'll be
yeah,
anxiously awaiting his next start. Hopefully he gets right, but that was definitely concerning to see.
yeah, tough to watch. One of the best who was doing it, just kind of stand up there and not really get to be able to figure it out. You hope to rarely see that for sure, and hopefully that is a rare sight for him going forward. Okay, so Matt, give us your stinger for the world of sports for the week here.
Yeah, my dinger for the week or stinger for the week is just the whole Puka situation. We talked about it a few weeks ago when all of this was kind of coming out. I just it's a bummer to me that like I don't know. There's silver lining in all of it. I'm trying to figure out my words. I put it down and didn't think about what I wanted to say with this. Um, it's sad that Puka has to go through this, and it's sad that Puka is going through this. And I wish him all the best. He's checked himself into rehab, and it seems like he's doing well. He's working out with Cooper Cup and all the guys still, um, but to reach a point where you voluntarily check yourself into a rehab means you must have hit like a pretty low point. And so it's sad, he's still such a young guy and he's just enjoying the prime of his career. And sometimes, when you're a star moving from the island of, Hawaii to Utah and then going from BYU to the Los Angeles and becoming a star overnight, like it can be a lot, I'm sure. And I don't know. It makes me bummed. Like I'm sad that he has to go through this. I mean, this was supposed to be the off season where we were, going to be debating whose contract was better. Was it JSN's or Puka's? And now it's like, hey, JSN's got this cool contract and seems locked up and he seems ready to go and locked in and Puka's working out and he's still trying to keep in shape and do all these things, but it's like there's distractions in a season where the Rams have been hoping to go all in to capitalize on what is presumably Stafford's last year. So it's a bummer, for sure. And yeah, I mean the silver lining is he is getting the help he needs, hopefully.
Yeah, yeah, that's the good thing for sure. That's what we definitely want to see. But uh, you mentioned he's so young. That's part of the good part too, right? Is just get it
Yeah,
out of the way, get right while you can, and you have a long career left. And then by the end of it, who will remember? And so that's the whole idea. Is by the end of things, the idea is that hopefully we won't remember any of this anyway. Um, all right, so let's end with the good here, end on good vibes, and let's go back to Drew for the dinger for the week. What's good? Literally.
yeah, I'm going back to the baseball well. We are in baseball season now. I'm going to have more news from that world for the time being, but I'm going to go over to Dallas's Angels and just single out Mike Trout as being my dinger because it can't stop hitting dingers. He had 5 home runs in a 4-game series against the Yankees. I always root for Mike Trout because he's one of the guys still standing from like when I was in high school watching baseball, and he was the GOAT back then. And it's cool to see him do GOAT things now, and especially against the team I hate the most in the New York Yankees. So um, pretty sick to see that. He had a home run in every game and two in one of them. So just absolutely rising to the occasion. And in the Bronx there, good to see.
Yep, definitely gave that crowd something to boo about, for sure, all those 4 games long. He also had some family, and just attended a couple games. Never, lest we forget, he is from New Jersey, so he had some family in the area, had some family at some games, so it was cool that they got to, maybe some folks that don't get to see him play in person a lot, with him playing across the country. Got to see him play, and he went off. So that's great too. All right, so Matt, give us your dinger for the week, if you would please.
Yeah, my dinger for the week is our boy Sam. Sam Darnold got married this week. So cheers for the man's. Uh, yeah, it was funny getting texts from my very excited big football fan uncle the entire time, just being like, "You'll never believe who's here! Like, you'll never
Yeah,
believe who I'm sitting next to." Super funny, but we're super stoked. Wedding looked beautiful. Sam is happy as can be, honeymooning in I think Mexico or Hawaii. They've been flying all over the place. Who knows? But that's my dinger. It's good. Love, love. We love love.
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, saw that guest list. Whoa, star-studded, for sure. It was awesome. So yeah, good for them. Good for Sam. He's having a heck of a year, and it just keeps rolling. So hopefully it continues over and into the next year. Hopefully we'll see. But yeah, good for
Excited.
him. Congrats for that. All right, so that'll do it for our NFL episode for this week. It was great fun. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening and always tuning in to us here. You can subscribe to us here on YouTube. You can like this video, share it around. Obviously, if you are listening on Spotify, we appreciate that. And you can even pop over to YouTube if you want, subscribe, and then pop right back to Spotify and listen audio only if you prefer that way. Go ahead and do that. Let us know in the comments, what you think about all the stuff we talked about. Feel free to name your own guys. Our comment section is more than open to just naming guys. We like that. Feel free to give us your opinions on the draft. Where do you think some of these guys will be going? We'd love to hear it as well. Give us your dinger and your stinger for the week. We'd love to hear that too. So, like I said, that'll do it for this week. Until we talk at you next, we will see you then, and take care. Goodbye.